here we go. It's the Bhoycie Bus T.N.F. I prefer just calling it the bus as opposed to the Bhoycie Bus. You know that? I prefer the bus. Sounds better. Bhoycie Bus is a bit self-indulgent, you know, and I'm all about protecting the brand, Mark, as you know. As you know, mate.
Well,
not every view everyone has on the channel are shared by the brand. Anyway, we'll get stuck into it. It's the T.N.F. It's the Thursday Night Forum. It's the night we hand over the keys to use. And you guys get all your points in, and we discuss them the best we can in the usual slavery and gibberish we normally do. Looking forward to it tonight. Connor Carr joins us. He's back. It's been a wee while, pal. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm glad to be back on with everybody. So let's just get stuck in and rip right in it.
Speaking of getting stuck in, Mark, that's just a prerequisite of you on the bus, mate. You're in comfy surroundings tonight, though, mate. You getting cozy at the bus now?
Tonight, mate. I just thought I would come out the kitchen. I feel a wee bit tired. I had the dentist this morning. I got a tooth out, so I'm feeling sorry for myself, mate. So I thought I'm just got about a look at head here in the blanket on the couch. I went full schoolboy on me on these.
I just hope that living room you're in is as clean as your kitchen, mate, because obviously it's a big talking point. It's a big talking point on the bus, how clean your kitchen is, mate. You know what I mean? Anyway, we will do all that good stuff and then we'll get stuck right in. All that good stuff means Giza share. There's 66 watching live already. 66 passengers on the bus within 60 seconds of being live. Thank you very much. If you want to give us a wee like, Giza share. As always, slag the hair. If you want to become a Bhoycie Bus member, like so many of you have, it's $1.99 a month. It's optional. The content on the bus is always free. But if you do want to become a Bhoycie Bus member, you'd be joining the likes of Jim C, Seamus Witherall, Patrick McLaughlin, Stephen Murdoch, Maka Levy. Good name. Love that. 420 somewhere. And StreamYard. No, they're not a member. No, just kidding. Anyway, we'll get stuck right in at the Celtic chat. We'll start off. We'll get the conversation going, guys, because I think that's the easiest way. But by all means, please, if you've got a talking point, get it stuck in. I'll hit a wee star button beside it, and we will address it tonight. Well, obviously, within reason. If there's about 20 million comments, then we won't be able to. But to kick us off, Connor Carr, how excited are you at the news? Even Brendan's now acknowledged it, so it must be close. Rio Hatate, a potential new deal.
I think it's excellent news. I think it's very, very positive. I know that his recent performances haven't been up to snuff, but I think they can just get swept under the carpet and just, put away to the side, because I think when you see what he can do as a player and how invaluable he is to our squad, I think it's one of the best bits of news that we're likely to get this year. There's, with the news coming out that the contract is being discussed and he's open to dealing with the club and extending that. There's compilations and stuff being shared left, right, and centre over on Twitter and Facebook, everywhere else, and you just look at it and you're like, holy fuck, we got this boy for £1.5 million from Kawasaki, and he didn't have much, first team football experience. So, there is still growth there to come. I know people like to think that he's, this, amazing player and he's a ticket and that. There is still growth there. So I think that if he's willing to, put his name on the dotted line and extend another contract with Celtic, I'm hoping that he can stay here and develop into an even better player than what he already is, and that would take some doing, because my God, he's absolutely electric. And look, he's not had great performances the past couple of weeks, but that's because he's just back from an injury. You don't come back for your work after being off with the flu for 2 weeks and you're back to 100%. Are you? It's natural for these players.
Might be able to.
I mean, they're not robots as much as we would like them to be, especially for with this club and their expectations. But I think it's very, very positive, and just the way that I think Brendan's came in and he's clearly sat down with these players, like say Kyogo and Dyser and that, and it was a thing that a lot of people had a bit of concerns about when he came in, saying they're not necessarily his players. They were very much in the Ange mould and stuff like that. How's he going to come across to them? How's he going to sell it? Is he going to be able to get them to stick around for as long as we need them? And he's clearly just, he shined his shiny white nashers and his Gucci belt and showed off a bit of his charm, and it looks like it's working off well for us.
I agree. I mean, it's interesting though, Mark, because when you think about it, Rio Hatate probably knew who Brendan Rodgers was before he knew who Ange Postecoglou was. When you think about it that way. Like, Ange, when he joined the J League, was only, 5 years ago? Brendan, by that point, had finished second in the English Premier League with Liverpool, like 5 years before, and won trebles at Celtic by then. So I would say he's the bigger name. The convincing side of it, I think we've been conditioned to think that only Ange has that sort of, that hypnotic sort of vibe about him where he can convince good players to stay at Celtic because of where they're from or whatever. I think any good player knows they become better under Brendan Rodgers.
I agree, but I think this has been the club that's persuaded the guy to stay. I don't think the manager's got involved too much. I heard them saying the night, the club's been dealing with this.
He said he heard about it, didn't he?
Aye, so
it was weird.
I think I seen somebody commenting like Rodgers wouldn't have gave Welsh a contract if it didn't rate him. I don't think he gives contracts out. I think the club take the day with all the contracts. To be honest with you, they take the day with the signings as well. They buy the players, and so I think if he spoke to the manager would tell him, look, just stay on this path, progress under me, and you'll get your move eventually. That'd probably be the only conversation that would take place. I don't think he'd be sitting.
But if they were to sign the new deal, though, sorry,
What?
Mark, very quickly, if they were to sign the new deal, though, surely that's got to be based on who their coach is. If they see a vision for the future, or do you think it's just money?
No, it's money. He's going to go in January or summertime, so it's just bridging the gap in between that with extra pay. We're probably going to do, if we're talking to 18, now you'll get 25, so we'll be thinking, it's an extra 30 grand a month till I go, whatever. That's fine, you know what I mean? But I thought he'd be going in the summertime anyway, so the fact he's got to stay another season anyway is good for Celtic. See, new contracts for me don't really mean much. I know Kyogo, for talking sake, he's different because I think at his age, I think the chances of folk taking a chance on him at that age is lessening. But I'm very happy with that contract. But
he says he's not impressed, Mark.
That's all right. That's up to him.
He says he's not impressed, Mark. That's all right. I meant to get a reaction from you on that, mate.
No,
I seen your tweet on Ralston getting a new deal. You were absolutely delighted.
Well, I think if we had somebody in every position that was he's not going to be a replacement for Arthur Johnson, but what we find out is when he comes in, he very rarely lets you down. He doesn't have he doesn't have a stinker. He's a man that wears a Celtic jersey and he does a job for Celtic. He's not a David Turnbull who just walks about with his head up his ass. You know what I mean? Does the odd 30-yard shot over the bar and the odd assist. This guy he's got. I don't think, for instance, if he had a choice to pick one right back or one left back as a backup who could play both positions, he would have picked Ralston over Bernabei at a drop of a hat, and he'll probably have picked Ralston over Stephen Welsh if Stephen Welsh could play right back as well. So it's not as if he's like this deadbeat defender that can't play football. The guy is of a standard. He might not be Celtic's first choice. That's fine. We're not in a position where we can have Kyogo, then Kyogo. It's Kyogo, then you know what I mean? It's like a major drop off.
I do agree with that. I want
Celtic to start getting in the middle. I want Celtic to have like a Hatate, then I don't know Bernardo. I don't know who his Hatate's replacement is. Then Dunaway. You know what I mean? But get too much of a gap between first and second choice, I think, throughout the squad. That even goes for Joe Hart right down to Bain or rest of us too much. I don't think Ralston's that much of a drop. I think he's a decent right back. I think he can defend pretty well. He gets forward really well. I think Arthur Johnson, for me, doesn't get forward too good, to be honest with you. I think his defensive work is world class. Well, not world class, but I think his defensive work, I think, is European class. It definitely seems to me like Arthur Johnson's the best right back we've had in many years. Going forward, I'm not that convinced as some folk. Whereas I think Ralston's maybe got a bit more going forward, but defensively, Arthur Johnson just pushes him aside. But Hatate deal, doesn't mean much to me. I think when your second strings like your Welshies and your Bains and your Ralstons are getting contracts, they're probably going to end up seeing their contracts out. They're not going to get better offers. They're not going to get enticed away. Your Hatates, that's the kind of one that will be for your Stan Petrov deal to sell about and then head off the first chance you get.
Stuart Armstrong was similar as well. Remember that one? It was a 1 year extension. Do you remember that?
I did actually.
He signed a 1 year extension. So we played him for another year and then sold him for $7 million anyway. I thought, well, we were in a position we could sell him with 12 months left. Then we played him for another 12 months and sold him with just 12. It was the weirdest thing.
I've done the same thing. He's signed. He's now insured he's got to be here for another 8-9 months. That's all he's did, really. Unless something dark comes in January, he's insured he's going to stay for the rest of the season, which is great because we've not found a replacement for him yet. There's nobody in that squad who's going to do the Hatate's job. Even though he's not been great this season, I've not seen standouts that can do a job like him. Bernardo, I don't know. He could be my neighbour for all I know. I've not seen the guy. I don't know anything about him. He's come in with this reputation, £6.5 million whatever his buy-on clause, and I don't know where he is or who he is. Same with a lot of them, to be quite honest with you. They've all kind of flattered to deceive.
That doesn't make it a bad thing, though, does it?
No, it makes it a good thing. Not really. I would rather all the players that we've come in have been so impressive that the likes of your Hatates or anybody would just be blown away by how good they are, and then they become second choice. See, every player we've got on has just been a straight in second choice player. You know,
I get that. I get that vibe.
And I don't think any Celtic fan expected that in the window. I'm not going to discuss that again, I don't think. But
it doesn't.
You asked the question there. Hatate signing is great for the club, great for the fans, but I think, to be quite honest with you, it's no some long-term vision being sold by Brendan Rodgers. It'll be the same idea that he had the day before he signs his contract as it will be the day after. Out of here, the first chance I can get with more money in between. Simple as that, mate.
Well, I think that's very blunt by the judge corner, but I always think it is a good vibe when you see the better players signing or committing to new deals, albeit Mark may well be right. It may well still be that it's next summer, but to be completely balanced, and Mark acknowledged that he was convinced he was away this summer, and he wasn't. So if he's been rewarded with a new deal for staying for an extra year, and it actually ends up us inflating the value of the player that we're selling, do you know what? It's good business all round. And I wonder if still he's been a wee bit convinced over the summer by the methods of Brendan and the reputation of Rodgers to make players better. Even he's took a wee bit of stock, I'm hoping, that he's went, you know what? I might evolve a wee bit more as a footballer under this guy as well, because that's how highly I rate Brendan. The other one, though, obviously Ralston's coming up in the conversation. He signed a new 4-year deal. I wanted to judge his views just because I know Mark sent a very funny tweet at the time. And Ralston's Mark's boy. And do you know what? Ralston's my type of player as well. I love Tony Ralston. I love him. And I get why. Why Brendan or Celtic would want to keep him for various reasons. But Connor, the other one that I would now like to see tied up, and again, we could fall into the Cairney trap, Judge Cairney trap of it's just to inflate the value. But I've got a feeling if you could get a Matt O'Reilly in a long-term deal as well, that'd be two brilliant pieces of business out with the window, Hatate and O'Reilly, that gives you a bit of settlement as a Celtic supporter that at least the guys that are there we're doing a good job with, and we're making sure they commit, even if it does mean it just inflates the value of the next window. Who cares? They've still at the end of the day signed a contract that's longer than the one that was on before at Celtic. With Matt O'Reilly, I've got a feeling though, Brendan could work his magic with him a wee bit more. I think that's a guy who seems to be, playing better football under Brendan, likes the cut of the manager's jib, if you will. And I think that is someone who could become, if he can be convinced, there's a path you could go down, a Callum McGregor type one, maybe not there forever, but maybe, an elongated spell at Celtic that you might not have expected when he first joined. I would make him a priority for the next new deal, if Hatate obviously is the next one to happen.
Aye, I would as well. I think, these players are very highly sought after, and we know that for a fact because now it looks like Matt O'Reilly is getting a call up to the Danish international at the first team. So he's clearly been rewarded in some aspects for his good performances and the you know, how well he's been doing and well he's been developing. So it's all you know. It's all good for him now that he's been performing very well, and you know he's already matched his goal tally this season already for all of last season as well, which was a decent season for him. You know, being the top assister in the league, but I think we were expected a bit more for him, and I think now he's trying to do that. He's trying to show that, and you know, under Brendan, it looks like that's what is happening, because I think we all said that at the start of the season, Brendan comes in, Matt O'Reilly could be one of these players that will develop very much so under Brendan Rodgers, and you know, a Stuart Armstrong or a Scott Brown type, because he has got that kind of magic touch when it comes to some of the a Celtic midfield and stuff like that.
He's took on more responsibility as well, hasn't he?
I mean, look, he took on some responsibility last year as well. I know it kind of gets brushed up a week because we kind of forget about it, but there was a period of time where McGregor was out injured, and Matt O'Reilly, when it's not his natural position, had to step in there for a good few weeks and did very, very well, and he actually almost thrived in that position as well. So I think he's very much shown what he can do on the park and leading by example as well. Kind of more so than the captain recently, but that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, I think it's good news. He's been very, very good. I think right now he's probably been our best player over the past few weeks, maybe including Scales in that conversation as well. Christ, you told me that at the start of the season. I thought you told him too many disco biscuits, but here we are. But it's good. It's good to see that we are trying to tie these guys down to decent deals. And look, if it does come to pass that the only reason these deals are getting tied down is so we can squeeze that extra couple of million here or there if they do leave next year or in the winter, then we'll hopefully. In fact, no, I'm not even going to say hopefully reinvest it because we fucking know we won't. So it was not going to happen. But I don't think O'Reilly to me doesn't seem like the kind of player that he'll sign this new contract and he'll just move on straight away. I think he's got the kind of vibe about him that he likes working under Brendan Rodgers. And you can see he said at the start of the season he likes the cut of Rodgers' jib. He likes the fact that he's a bit jovial with him. He likes sitting with him. He likes having a laugh with him. He's not scared to, be personable with the players. It's not just like you're here and I'm there, and then I tell you what to do, and then that's it. You do what I tell you. It's very much a team effort and a cohesiveness in the squad that we're kind of seeing, especially in terms of them two.
Cohesiveness. You've been at the thesaurus today, mate.
Have I? I was doing that on my lunch break. But I think that's what's been working in Rodgers' favour is his personality, and that's maybe what's going to. And obviously his track record speaks for itself. I know earlier on, a certain manager across the city was getting comparisons to Sir Alex Ferguson. So I don't know, maybe we're up for a bit of a challenge this season. That is total sarcasm. For a fact that is absolute bullshit. But yeah, I think Matt O'Reilly is going to be very, very important for us. I think he'll actually stay for another couple of seasons. I've just really got that vibe about him. He is going to like working under Rodgers, and he is going to mould him and shape him into one of his top men. And if you break it down this way, McGregor, Kyogo, Maeda, then possibly Hatate and O'Reilly, that's like the core of the squad, bar Carter Vickers, now that will have all signed new contracts if that is to pass.
Good point.
Because they're some of the first names on the team sheet, the ones you expect to be there week in, week out, and the ones you expect to put in the best performances. So the fact that we are clearly seeing this is a team that works. These are the guys who, time and time again, produce the goods. We'll tie them down to longer contracts, whether it's their ambitions to leave or not. We've got them tied down so that we can get as much money from them as possible. And if it's their ambitions to stay here and help forge this club and go forward and be successful, then all more power to us. And I think that's something that we can all agree that's something we'd be very happy about.
Well, undeniably, I mean, it preserves the valuation of the players at the very least, Mark. If we're going to be cynical about it, that's we could take that away from it at the very least. I feel like I'm all echoey tonight. And that does sound like I've got an echo.
No.
Feels all echoey at my end. Anyway, can you still hear me okay? That's weird, eh? Feels like I've done like Stars in Their Eyes, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like a karaoke. Can that way? What's happening here? I think when it comes to Mark, the preserving the valuation of the players, I think that is a slightly cynical view, but probably accurate, to be honest with you. Players don't come now anymore, sadly, to enjoy the ride of Celtic forever and ever. Unless you get one-off moments, like particularly the Kyogo one. I've just got a wee hunch that he might, in the weird world that is football now, him being 28 is now viewed as too old by many fans these days as to be a potential signing for a club. It's a weird one, that, because it never used to be that. It used to be that would be them in their peak years and you'd be getting a player in his prime. Whereas I think now that idea, that notion seems to get kind of poo-pooed a wee bit. So fair enough. I'm happy to have Kyogo through his prime years at Celtic. The other ones, though, Connor's right to bring up, because when you think about it, the recruitment side of things was very underwhelming, Matt. You don't want to talk about the window tonight, and I get that. But when it comes to the actual, the safeguarding of the core of the team, they basically went all out to try and keep all that. And then the other example would be Jota leaving for £25 million. Now, the funny thing is, which Connor was touching on, I think that's good business, selling Jota for £25 million. The problem is we won't reinvest it, will we? So there's actually no benefit really to the product on the park. If you lose a key player, sell them for a fortune, but don't actually see any of those rewards for doing it. Kind of makes it a redundant exercise for us fans.
Still my thunder there. I would rather the Celtic players who would like to be here leave for nothing. I'd rather that they got 3 years with them and they left for nothing. See whether Celtic get 1 million or 100 million, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make my season ticket any cheaper or make the replacement player any better. It's just your 25 million for Kieran Tierney and the boy for Kamala comes in. And then comes in with no anyways. So before there could be 100 when they turn.
I think Mark's went AWOL.
Is it just my end? I think you're freezing a wee bit, Mark. I think it was. No, you're better now. Go again. Say that last. I don't know where that's 10 seconds again.
Well, I don't know where I was, but I'm just saying basically like
25 million for Kieran Tierney, sign Greg Taylor for Kilmarnock.
Aye. So basically, it doesn't really matter how much money we get. And I'd rather be just the players who were here just seen out their contracts and left, because the business model was buy cheap and sell for big. So if you buy them for £2 million and you get 3-4 years out of them, the Celtic fans benefit out of that, not the board. You know what I mean? We'll get the players who perform at a high level and they get them for longer, then let managers build a squad. I always say in Scotland, you can never get a good Hearts, Hibs team, Aberdeen team, because the most these teams can afford is 2-year contracts on players.
That's it.
No manager can build a team right. Celtic have got the other end. We can give players 3-4 year contracts, but if the problem is if they're any good, they leave. So we're in the same situation as Hearts and Hibs. We just do it at a higher level. So if we could get a team who were full of good players like O'Neill's team, you could get 3-4 years out of very high level players, you're going to get a better team, and the Celtic fans would benefit from that. No, the board members, no umbrella hedge funds who take money out of Celtic every season and are faceless. You'd probably even know where Celtic are in the world. You just know there's money coming out of their banks every year for dividends. And so let's get one thing clear here. The board haven't sat in a strategy meeting and said, look, the Celtic fans deserve Hatate, Kyogo, new contracts. They've sat and went, these guys are probably, Kyogo aside, I think, these guys are probably going to go, but we'll protect our asset. We'll put
There might be a lot of that.
It's good optics, though, mate. I'd be surprised, but we get the benefit of that as well because we get to play for longer. But I don't think any players that would be mentioned. I think, in fact, I'm going to say this one thing. There's not been one player apart from Hatate that signed a contract who any thought was going to leave this season. There's been no interest for Maeda, no interest for Carl McGregor, no interest for Hatate as such. No interest.
Do we know that though?
Well, if
I thought Southampton were looking at Maeda, did they not?
Listen, I think there probably has been interest though that we don't know.
I don't know. See if there was anything that. See if the press could flummox the Celtic fans into hysteria during the summertime. They would have said, "Oh, QPR's got to bid for this guy, and Fulham's wanting this guy, and Southampton." They would have definitely gave us the heebie-jeebies because one thing with football is there's no secrets. People talk. Agents put it out there that you say, for instance, Hatate's agent, who we all know wanted him to get a move. See if there was genuine interest, he'd be telling news agencies to get the price up. Oh, Celtic midfielders getting linked with Spurs, Arsenal, Chelsea. Then before you know it, there's 3 or 4 other offers on the table. That's how it works in football. So see if there's any interest, it would have been publicised. I've yet to see a deal, very rarely seen a deal where it was the guy went to training Monday morning, and then was at Chelsea's door on Tuesday. Never happens. There's always leaked rumours in between. You don't see somebody signing for Chelsea and they finish training at 5 o'clock the previous day. That's not what happens. It's like, okay, there's 3 or 4 days of bullshit talk on the papers. Names in an airport and it goes on Instagram. That's just what you see nowadays. True. It's a small world, football, and people talk, and it's obviously normally the agents try to. I mean, there's even rumours going about 18-year-olds getting new contracts that you never heard at Celtic. For Romano guy.
Well, everything now gets over promoted almost as well, doesn't it? Like it's a big signing. But I mean,
I don't think Celtic have, as I said, I don't think we've won like this. Look, they've just the board have done the business thing, but I don't think there's been. I don't think apart from I think Hatate held it so he could leave for this window and he never get the opportunity to do it, which is fine. He's a man with a family, has to, but. The rest of them was just about protecting assets, not about making sure they get another year at them. They just thought, okay, if they go in January, we'll get an extra £3 million or £2 million, and that's what they think. You know what I mean? I know I say things about harsh, but sometimes people need to hear the harsh things. You know what I mean? People are in a fantasy spaceship. I think sometimes
I think it'd be remiss to think if Hatate signs a new 4-year deal, he'll be there for 4 years. I don't think anyone, even on the spaceship, believes that. But you're right in the sense that does it extend their stay by much? Longer than you probably thought, though, in the Hatate case, which is, I think, a fair example to give because he's the one that we're referring to. But do you know what? An extra year of Hatate is good for Celtic and if we get maximum value. But Amy Flynn's talking about all listening, pal. Diplodocus, Devo Max, the TK Max. That's only an excuse reference. But we talk about Diplodocuses, I mean, the board are dinosaurs. That's the problem, Connor. They are dinosaurs. I mean, the comment's pretty funny. I think it's an only excuse reference. I think, remember what's he called, Jonathan Watson? He did the wee stint as Joanne Lamont, and I'm sure he did the old Devo Max, the TK Max. It was pretty funny. But anyway, dinosaurs, the board may be. But when we see players signing new deals, I'm all for it. Connor, we'll go to the comments because there was one that came in earlier from Martin Wilmot, and I want your thoughts on this, Connor. Any thoughts on the announcement today the EPL will bring in lower league clubs into the TV deal? Imagine Crawley Town, for example, getting more TV cash than Celtic. What can Celtic do? This is the thing. Celtic can't do anything about other TV deals. Right? You can only get what the market wants. The TV deal that Martin Wilmot's talking about doesn't actually exist. What it is the Premier League and the Championship, or the EFL as a whole, have said, we're going to collaborate now for the TV deal. There's not been one agreed yet. The reason they think it favours Sky is because Sky have the autonomy and just signed a new deal with the EFL recently, so it might work in their favour. But from a Celtic perspective, we're already signed up for the next 6 years, whatever it may be. Motherwell, for example, this weekend, £15 PPV. I get the positives to the PPV thing when it generates extra cash, but I also think, we have to sell the product better to get a better bidder. Right now, there's no point in comparing with English stuff.
I mean, we have to look in our own back garden first before we look at what's happening in the English leagues, you know what I mean? And they all fall under the EPL umbrella, so they're naturally just going to get extra cash simply just by being associated with the Premier League. It's just the way it works. I mean, even I think like the Swedish and the fucking football league gets more money than us. Do you know what I mean? The Norwegian league. I mean, I've never watched a Michelin game in my life, but the fact that they get more money than us for TV revenues, it's a bit shite. But when we've got teams at Livingston who have got fucking a pitch straight out of J&W carpets, it's a bit of an eyesore. You've got teams who are meant to be some of the biggest in the country, like Hibs, who are in a quarter-final for the League Cup, can't even fill their stadium. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit embarrassing, in all honesty. And the only two teams that really turn up is Celtic and Rangers to really back the game. And, when you've got fans of other clubs wanting, Rangers and Celtic fans locked out of the stadiums, helping to give them more revenue, and that simply because they're fucking bitter and they hate giving half of their stadium to us on away days. It's just shooting yourself in the foot. It's cutting off your nose to spite your face. And we're the league that hates itself. Do you know what I mean? And it's a Scottish thing. I don't know what it is, but it's been there. And I don't
with
really
an English CEO.
I mean, you couldn't write it. I mean,
Doncaster is English,
I know, but I mean, wouldn't it be Scotland with some fucking English bastard try to roll over us, try to fuck us over, wouldn't it? But it's shite, and I would love to be able to sit here right and give you the answers as to what we can do, and the truth is I can't. The truth is that the youth teams, we don't really get many youth prospects anymore, and if they do, they fucking move to Bayern Munich or Liverpool or, Chelsea, and they'll maybe go through that and get loaned out to teams in League One down in England and do all that stuff rather than play against your your Hamilton Accies or your civil service strollers every week. And you can't blame them because, the fruit of the EPL and the riches and the bright lights is there for them to grasp at. You know what I mean? There's mere chance of a laddie who's 16-year-old getting picked up by Man United's academy, he actually getting in there and making a bit of an impact eventually after he goes on loan a couple of times as opposed to the Celtic academy, because it's just not working. It's really bad. You've got teams who are happy to employ managers who are fucking absolute dinosaurs, who have shit tactics, play shit football. Their fans are, absolutely tin pot, and they don't do anything to really support their club. They don't turn up and support in the droves, and then they like to have a moan about
though.
us.
I mean, at the end of the day, right now, Super Sunday, Mark, will be dictated at times this season, shall we say, on Sky Sports, with Luton Town, with teams walking through flats to get to the pitch. Mm-hmm. They just dress up their product better. That's what the reality is. And the reason we're maybe sitting watching a wee bit envious, I know you're very relaxed tonight, Mark. I'll not speculate as to the reasons why. But I think the reason the SPFL is we jump at the first offer, like I've argued many a times on here before, because it's the only offer. So they go, guaranteed money, we'll take it. They've no creative ideas. They're basically telling you for the next 7 years, we've no idea how to market the SPFL product any better than we do right now. So we'll take the 29 million a year or 26 million a year deal, because that basically buys us more time to come up with hee-haw. It's that simple.
Well, that's it. It might be a shite offer, but it's the only offer, as you say. Nobody else is want to come in and put their hands in their pocket. The Scottish football doesn't sell itself well, but I don't think Sky promote Scottish football well, but that's a different issue.
Totally agree. You've got to
promote yourself within, you know what I mean? But other than Celtic,
hardly any of the Edinburgh derbies were on Sky last season. Do you know what I mean? They were showing fucking Crawley versus Ipswich in that rather than Hibs versus Hearts.
Because Connor, we're a postage stamp on a small island. Scotland's a very small part of the spectrum when it comes to the TV audience and the projected TV audience. You know what I mean? We Celtic v Rangers and all the rest of it get big crowds, but to be quite honest with you, somebody sitting down in England or Wales or even Scotland, and they're putting a Sky on a Sunday afternoon, they've got their coupons on, and their coupons are all on for English football. You know what I mean? They'll probably dip into Serie A. That's why you get into the live score app.
Yep.
You scroll down past every league in the world before you come to the Scottish leagues. It's not because it's the last one on the alphabet. It's because it's the least one that's attractive. You know what I mean? We're in the market we're in, and that's it. The Scottish football, we've got Dublin's running the show. We've got Dublin's running each club. You know what I mean? We're just we're pathetic in so many ways. The media in this country are so badly trained. Even when they're talking about serious issues, like even last week, like
Are they laughing that they've signed us up to this, man?
What?
Are they almost laughing that they've signed us up to this and they're like, we never had what disdain we would treat your game with. You signed it. Fuck you. There's been no effort as of from their coverage.
They mean it because they'll have, like, for instance, they'll have like the Hibs manager and they'll have a wee badge saying Dundee manager. I mean, you know that's the Hibs. You know who Hibs are. If you're working for Sky, when the Sky Sports the team, you know who the fuck Hibs are just by looking at the badge. You know what I mean? Any other reason, and if they show up the wrong badge, or even though they'll have that referee talking about a decision the following day, and if he's talking about a Luton Town defender, he'll name the defender, but he'll go like that. The Aberdeen number 4, whoever he is, he tackles him. That's a free kick. He talks about about Scottish football as like he's getting zero interest, and he doesn't even take the time to get the players' names right or nothing. And that's all the way through it. You know what I mean? It's like,
we knew we were signing up for that, though.
I don't. Well, see, for instance, I'm a bit different for a lot of folk because I don't really watch Sky Sports. I don't need validation of any sort for England. Far from it. I would rather they just let. I'd rather there was no Alan Brazil talking about Scottish football, or no Jim White, or no Alan McCoy constantly making jokes about Scottish football, making it sell a laughing stock rather than talk about serious issues in Scottish football. I would rather we just had all that aside. You know what I mean? So I don't need validation. I don't need the English market to watch Scottish football. But unfortunately, the finances dictate that we need a bigger pool of people to watch.
Talk to me then. To flip that. Talk to me about what your views were, Mark, when BT Sport were covering half the league season. What you thought of that? Remember between like 2014, 2019 or 2020, something like that? What did you make of that?
It was good because not only was like the panel was pretty good. You had Michael Stewart, who's a very good talker, whether you agree with him or no. You had Chris Sutton. The production value was really good. There was like pre and post game day shows. You know what I mean? They took it seriously. It was like they said, "This is our product. We're going to promote that." Don't forget, Sky as an actual medium was built up through Sky Sports. Sky was just the other things that just kept Sky Sports going. You know what I mean? And English football is Sky Sports, and Sky Sports is English football. So they've got to promote that as much as possible. That's why they've got all the fancy tech, all the high paid commentators, and we get the draws. So BT Sport, I think they've seen Scottish football as a way to get into football as such. You know what I mean? And I know they were already there, but they were using Scottish footballers to showcase what they can do in a match day. And I thought the production value was really good. I mean,
they were disappointed by the numbers, Mark.
Is that?
That's the reality. BT were disappointed by the numbers they actually gained.
They
thought it was a come up. But I am totally on the side with you.
See, the thing is, let's be honest, right? Is
that a reality check?
That's a reality check because I don't watch English football. I've said it 25 times a night alone, but I would probably rather watch, if I was a football fan as such, I'd probably rather watch Southampton, West Ham before I watch Inverness, Cali and Ross County. You just would, right? That's just, and I talked to my brother about this a couple of years ago, and I was saying I hate the fact my brother was wearing Chelsea strips, Liverpool strips. I just hated it. He said to me, Mark, he said, "What do you expect a young boy nowadays to do?" Because when I was away, and it was Celtic, and that's it. I go to Celtic Park and I was Wayne sitting with Real Madrid taps on, and I'm going, "What the fuck? If they've already got to Celtic strips, buy my Celtic trackie." That's my mindset. But some people are different, and that's how English football is just been shoved in our faces so much that anybody who watches football just gravitates. You mentioned Hatate earlier on. I'm pretty sure Hatate knew the Birmingham City manager before he knew Ange, because that's English football. Anybody who watches football,
but that's how clever it was marketed as well. You've got to give kudos to it as well, because
it's like Hollywood. Everybody knows Hollywood, and England's Hollywood when it comes to football. You know what I mean? It's just promoted so well. It's the centre of football, and most people. I think a Serie A and Spanish football is the best leagues I always have. You know what I mean? I'm probably in a few there, but some folk don't think that way. I always say, if you get the English tap to, the Spanish tap to, Italian tap to, French tap to, and German tap to, I don't think you would get the English teams win the league every year. That's just my opinion.
Doesn't matter.
Then you put the bottom two for each league. I think the English teams will get relegated every season. So that's how I would judge who's the best.
I hear
team. You. Maybe get a Man City every couple of years, getting a couple of trophies and that. But
couple of games here and there.
I'm digressing here and there, but I'm just saying, football wise, because see, look at the stadiums. If Celtic had if we got 10,000 tickets for every away match, we would fill it out. Connor said we strangle ourselves in this country, so we literally can't do anything else other than put pressure on. And I'll give Rangers their due. Rangers have been saying publicly for a few years now that people running Scottish football are a disgrace. Celtic are too shy with this. Celtic should be getting on Rangers' coattails and backing some sort of change in the SFA leadership. And Rangers can't do it themselves. Now it just looks like Rangers have got an axe to grind against the SFA.
It looks like it because Rangers are losing. That is the reality as well. That is the reality. It looks like it's so great.
But of course it is. But I'm saying that's the way it looks. But look at good points about the Sunch deal.
Yeah, which will never get viewed though. They'll never get viewed in that clear mindset you're talking about.
If we do it together,
Scottish football will never do that.
We've got guys.
It's pathetic.
We've got CEOs and chairmen and the top division in the league who probably just show up to match days, drink their champagne and eat 4-course meals and get home, Bhoycie. Probably not got much say in Scottish football at all.
Connor, I'm going to come to you on the BT Sport thing very quickly, because Chill Pill comes in. He says, if I have BT Sport back in a heartbeat, I've made it clear on the channel for about the last 18 months, 24 months. The reason BT Sport stopped doing the league coverage, I know this for a fact, is because what they were paying for half of the coverage before, excluding the 4 database, so they were whatever it was they paid, they offered again, but for the full rights, including the 4 database. So not just that, that's how little they valued it. So yeah, it'd be great to have the coverage back in a heartbeat, but financially, ruins. The other one is Pam comes in, and this is so interesting. BT Sport with Lenny and Chris Sutton as pundits was class. They're both pundits on Sky Sports right now. Like literally, the last Celtic game, Neil Lennon was in the studio and Chris Sutton's in the technical area. Yet it still doesn't feel like they're getting it right. We're stuck with it now though. So I think the way this EFL and Premier League collaborations came about just now is not quite as crystal clear. They've not signed a new TV deal. They've just basically said going forward they will work as in a wee bit more unison as what they were before. Right, let's have some fun. Mickey Moynihan put this in earlier, and he wants to put a price on Matt O'Reilly. Connor, you've barely had a wee chance to speak yet, so I'm going to come to you first, and then we'll get the judges' take. If Matt O'Reilly were to go, what's he worth right now in the old market value?
It's funny because I don't think we've sold any of our players for anything near what I think they're worth, really, considering, you know, what you see other players go for from worse leagues or leagues at similar levels to, you know, big EPL teams. That's the Scottish football tax added onto that, you know. Taxes add money on with Scottish football. It fucking detracts money for it because it's coming through such a shit league. I think if I was to put a price on it now, I'd say about 17, 18 million he's worth for now. Not because I don't think he's worth more. I do think he's worth more. I think he's worth at least 20, 22. I just think that He didn't have as good a season last season as what we all hoped for. He's, as of yet, he's not part of the first team for the Denmark international squad, and he's still got a lot of development.
If he gets in there,
Aye,
that would add percentages, wouldn't it? You're right.
And look, I think if God willing, we put together some decent performances in the Champions League, and obviously we win the league, and he's obviously matched his goal tally for that season. He increases that. I'm getting Stuart Armstrong vibes from this season. I could see him getting about 17 this season, about 17, 18 goals this season. At Aurelia under Brendan Rodgers. I'm just getting those vibes from him. Can't really explain why. I just am. But I would say that now about 17 to 18 million, because I thought Carl Starfelt was worth at least £10 million. We sold him for. Aye, look, it was one of the.
See with the Manchester United defender though, see to be just very quickly to jump on that. See that guy, the Swedish defender that joined Man United for Benfica.
Mm-hmm.
He was 40 million.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely not 10 times the player as Carl Starfelt. It depends who the buyer is. But would I think in my mind's eye, Starfelt was a 10 million defender? Or go on yourself, Connor, in fact. Go on yourself. I like it.
I just think that because him and Carter Vickers, right, and look, Carter Vickers has probably carried majority of that weight, right? But there was multiple games and against the Cream Buns where I thought Starfelt looked better. It was very good in the air. I did have a couple of fucking minutes here and there, like, that it wasn't comfortable.
Got captain at the weekend.
Exactly. And look, I've been seeing people, I know stats and that are a bunch of shite, right? Like fucking XG and closing down plays and no times doubles passed, all this shit, right? But he got very, very good stats recently in a game for Celta Vigo against Barcelona. And look, Xavi's doing a good job at Barcelona. They're not what they were before, but they're on the right track. You know what I mean? So I think it's worth that. If he was playing for any other team, right, and had the exact same performances and had the exact same stats, undefeated in the league.
So how much is Matt O'Reilly worth again?
17 to 18 million pounds. I know I'm going on a tangent here. Look,
no, we'll double it down with Starfelt as well, who we've already sold. Fuck it, Mark. I like it. Connor's passionate tonight, and I actually respect his values, Big Carol. I like it. And to be fair, captain in La Liga, apparently he was man of the match the other day as well. So I heard. Matt O'Reilly, you have been a different voice on Matt O'Reilly this season. I think the most. I've actually declared him my favourite player so far this season that I've watched the Celtic jersey. I know you have a different viewpoint on that. If a bid were to come in 1st of January, as all things stand, how much does Celtic get?
It'll be fucking 18 million. You kidding me on? No chance. If you paid 18 million pound and he showed up, you'd be fucking raging. He's playing in Scottish football, Connor. He's not playing. The fact of the matter is, his stats that he's got is up against Ross County and everyone is Cali Thistle and Dundee. He's not up against West Ham and Chelsea. He did well against Feyenoord. What's that?
He's very good against Feyenoord. You didn't know.
No,
I thought he was good against Feyenoord.
But you can't. Well, Calvin Bassey kind of makes a difference because he got a £25 million move for one game. But you don't get a big reputation for playing a couple of games a season. I mean, that's not how it works. You know what I mean? I don't think Jota was consistent every match, Connor. I mean, plus he went to a market who was paying players £300 million a season. Let's be honest here. I don't think if we as a club got offered like maybe between £8 and £12 million for O'Reilly, I think that's fair. I think that's fair for him. I mean, I would certainly hold it for more money if we can get it, but you're not getting £18 million for come on to fuck, man. For Matt O'Reilly, no chance. I think Celtic fans, the minute somebody pulls their sweater on for Celtic, we put a price tag on them. We're obsessed with money, Celtic fans, with how much money we can bring in. We're like, I don't know, like the guy in Pinocchio who takes all the money in. Just can't.
I get that. I do actually get that because that became almost a medal. But notwithstanding that, as just a general question, taking on
8
that
to 12 million.
8 to 12.
I would take 10 if it offered that. Personally, if you spent 10
You
million
would take
pounds,
it.
I would. Oh, aye. And Carl Starfelt, we got a fair price for him. 5. Was he get 5 million?
We got the same basis as what we paid.
I don't think he was. I thought Carter Vickers was the glue that held that team together, that in defence, because anytime Carter Vickers Starfelt played alongside Welsh, it was balls. You know what I mean? Aye.
That is brilliant. Sky came in and they offered 50 million, and Mark went, didn't he pay 50 million for this shite? 29.
No. Well, I don't think we can sit and say that. See, if we're going to be honest all the time. You can't sit and say this is the worst league you've seen in 20 years, and then turn around and say, "Oh, if you get good stats in this league, you're worth 50 million." That's not how it works. We're playing against, in my opinion,
No one's
Celtic for 30 years now, boys. This is the worst league I've ever seen. This is the worst Hibs, Hearts, Aberdeen. This is definitely the worst league I've seen. So we can't be putting guys up in the clouds because they're playing well
For
against.
context, though, let's look at 12 million for an example. Ross McCormick, a decade ago, cost that, scoring goals in the Championship. Jordan Rhodes cost £12 million.
That's the Championship.
A decade ago, though, as well. A decade ago, though. A decade ago. So time moves on. And also, now we will bring in all the other factors, if you like, because that now suits my argument. 72 million in the bank. You're not in a position you have to sell. He's still got over 2.5 years left on his contract, and was already, without a shadow of a doubt, when we got him, on the radar of the likes of Liverpool, because of the stats. I remember he was top across the EFL for whatever it was. Like, he would not leave us for £8 million. I would hate for him to go. My heart tells me that he will sign a new deal. I think he's committed to Celtic again. If I'm honest, though, and if we answer the question direct that we were asked, I think 15.
A real figure. What would 15. Be the
15.
15.
I think 15.
I think I would take that. Well, no, I'm going to take anything from because the club would
just. We don't do anything with
it. They would take it.
I think 15 would be about his right now where he's at. I think.
I think they would take it if it kicked the tires. I think Celtic would say deal and run away.
Open the box. But I think when it comes to the Champions League, Connor, I was very impressed with him in the Champions. We looked like we played Brown Warrior. Love this wee segment. The double pivot in the Champions League, which Brown Warrior's been crying out for. And it was McGregor who actually looked like it didn't suit him as much, being 50-50 in that double pivot role. I think he's been used to just being the hunter-gatherer, if you like, I thought Matt O'Reilly was excellent in that role. If he can carry that on for the next 5 games in the Champions League, exciting times. Hi, Lana.
Bhoycie was shouting hi there.
I say it's very exciting times, especially if he does continue his good vein of form and does perform in the Champions League. And look, that could get us to my 18 million valuation. I mean, you never know. But it's the thing that's really sticky with me is like, I don't know why. I know you just mentioned we're talking about Matt O'Reilly, but I don't know what is wrong with Callum McGregor this season. I really can't put my finger on it. He's had one good game all season, and I'm like, I don't want to say drop him. I know this is just coming out of nowhere, right? Because we've not really spoken about it. I think there's going to be talked about. Just
game management. Game management. I think
he's fucked. Like, he's absolutely fucked. You can tell. He's fucking knackered. Look at him. He's fucking knackered. It looks he's aged about 10 years in the past 2 months. How many games he's been playing. He plays every game for Scotland. Plays every game for Celtic, whether it's the cups, the lower rounds of the cups, anything. He's always playing. He never really gets subbed off, really, ever. And if he does, it's maybe in the last 15 minutes, last 10 minutes. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know if this new role isn't suiting him well. I don't know what it is, but it's really whatever we're no getting out of him. I don't know. Brendan needs to just try and squeeze it out of him or give him a rest or something. If we're 3-0 up, right, or 4-0 up against Motherwell in the first half, There's no reason why Cam McGregor should still be on that park come the second half. There's no reason. Take him off, give him a rest, and play somebody else. Give Bernardo a game, give home a half, see what these boys can do as well.
I think that will come, though.
I will come, but
I think Rodgers will manage him better. I do think that. I mean, Bagheera's been quoted to him up now. What would Bagheera do? I think I'm being trolled tonight, mate. Honestly, the wise cat. Bagheera, what would Bagheera do? I think when the big panther in the Jungle Book, mate, kind of the one who wants to get Mowgli home. Kind of the big panther who just cuts him out at the top of the tree. No?
Did you know of a cat named after that?
Never seen the Jungle Book? Aye, my cat.
I loved it, but I can't remember their names. The panther.
Right, Bagheera was the big panther, eh? And my cat was called Bagheera as well.
He would probably eat him, wouldn't he? If that's what he would do.
I was going to make a point there.
It's a Disney movie, Mark. It's not real.
I think he just ate plants, to be honest with you. It's a bit embarrassing. But anyway, I think when it comes to the Matt O'Reilly discussion, someone came in saying Celtic rejected 10 million in the summer. Now, you know, Mark, I don't do ITK. You know that. But what if I said he perhaps was offered to go to a championship club in the summer for a 10 million fee and Matt turned it down? How would that sound?
It would be
surprising. It means Celtic accepted 10. For the start.
Well, that probably proves my point that Celtic were willing to 8-12. So I'm spot on. It's embarrassing at this stage. But just something, Celtic to the championship was a step down for any player. Surely he knew that, and he's probably thinking, "How I do it? Keep on doing what I'm doing, and maybe I'll get an EPL team." But to be quite honest with you, Celtic have got two figures: what they expect to pay and what they expect to accept. And Celtic fans are always want us to spend £3 million a player and panic when it comes to 5, but expect £25 million in return. I don't understand it. It's like we're gypsies or something. You know what I mean? If we brought in, for a talk's sake, if we spent 18 million, I'm just going to say 18 million, and he showed up, you'd be fucking livid. You'd be like, was that we broke our transfer budget for? We broke a transfer star player. Sorry.
Oh, I think you do well in the championship. I think
no, but I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying, see if we paid 18 million,
right,
and he rocked up at Celtic Park, you'd be like, what the fuck's this? Our record transfer was 9 million. We've doubled it, and that's a level of player we'd be raging.
But does that then tell you does that not then subscribe to the fact we are completely living in the past when it comes to transfer fees?
Of course, we're spending less money than 23 years ago. Alan Stubbs cost about £4.5 million before Connor was even born, and we'll spend that now. Connor wasn't even born when we were signing guys like Alan Stubbs for £4.5 million.
It took us 20 odd years to break the fucking transfer record fee for a player.
Aye. Terrible that no business involves doing that shit. But we've got the weekend to look ahead to very quickly before I know it's nearly the hour mark. I know it's nearly bedtime and I get that. We will quickly look ahead to the weekend. Motherwell away. We play first, which we were kind of wanting a wee bit more of, for last season, Mark. I'll come at you first, Connor. Predictions for Fir Park, because they are a team, to be fair, under Kettlewell, that have kind of got the shit together a wee bit, to be fair to them.
Usually against even Glory Fir Park, against Motherwell, I'd be expected to go and turn them over like 4, 5, 6, nothing, because that's kind of the way it's been over the years. But Kettlewell has done an absolutely incredible job. Motherwell and St Mirren are the two, besides Rodgers, I'd say the two managers in this league getting the absolute best of their squads. And they deserve commendation for that alone, especially with a club like Motherwell, who are notoriously, a mid to lower table side. They kind of tend to do well for a wee bit and shit the bed, and then just kind of bounce around about the middle to the top 6 to the fucking bottom 6. It's How's
the game gonna go, Connor?
I think I'm going to make a prediction and say we're going to win 3-1, and I think they'll slip up against Aberdeen later on. Aye. I think, no, I'm going to put I'm going to say Maeda will get a double and Kyogo will get one. And they'll slip up against Aberdeen. They'll slip up against Aberdeen later on in the afternoon. I'm pretty sure of that.
All you're missing is Guinness the minutes for the goals, mate. This is proper details. I like it.
They look absolute fucking pants.
First yellow card?
First yellow card. I'm going to say... but who is going to get the first yellow card? That's a good question. Give me some suggestions. I'll put it in my coupon.
Mark, talk to me about Saturday.
I think Celtic are beginning to click under Rodgers. I don't think we've even seen them 50% yet, and we're still looking a far better team than we did 3 weeks ago. So I think Celtic will win the match. Scott Bain always gives me the fear nowadays, so that's always a worry. I think Motherwell have got their act together. I don't know if you said that, or boys said they have kind of showed up a lot better this season. I was surprised they get beat last week, to be honest with you. But I'm going to say 2-1 Celtic. I think they'll get a goal, I think. But I will win the match. I think we do. And I don't think we'll play with Maeda because he's a man doing. He play with Maeda.
Terrible, isn't he?
That does not represent the views of the brand, just so you know.
Don't listen. I won't be issuing statements saying that
we're not up for any awards, by the way.
No chance.
Look, by the way, if you didn't stop interrupting me and saying my points are terrible, I'm going to just take myself off this platform for good, and you'll never see me again.
Thanks, Connor.
Aye.
Terrible.
There's always it's the hope that kills you, Mark. Eh?
There's always something. You live in that expectation. Something's going to come good for you.
I'm gonna give you, Mark. I think a narrow win. I'm gonna go 2-0, and for whatever reason, Scott Bain keeps a clean sheet. Lager Bielka and Scales keep another clean sheet, and we're in a parallel universe where Brendan is reluctant to bring Joe Hart back into the team and does what he did with Craig Gordon and ends up playing Scott Bain the rest of the season.
Man.
I don't know why. I don't know why it's in my head, but I think we'll win 2-0 at Fir Park. Anyway, look forward to the action. We'll be back for the PMP. But tomorrow, that Friday, Phil and me remember and join Phil and the boys tomorrow night for a wee hour, and they'll be doing a wee, preview of the game at Fir Park. I'm sure Phil will dive into the memory bank of different games at Fir Park, hopefully good ones. But anyway, other than that, all we can say is good night to you, good night to me, and good night to Bagheera. See you.
Bye.